Hi, neighbor. Welcome back, Corked Stats. Fastest freaking show in MLB, absolutely anywhere with your homeboy. Big Johnny Stud, yo, coming to you worldwide. Brooklyn, New York, as always, coming out that damn chair as always. Follow me up on Twitter at John the Gazer Flow, sharpening the damn razor. Same handle over on Substack. Find out what all the damn hubbub's about. Thanks for making me a bestseller over there. We are going to save you $2 worth of time a week with the mountain of shit that we're providing. Algo scores, full game F5, all the stats, they're split. They're advanced. They are beautiful. Pitching, hitting, bullpen, of course, K projections, base props and bets and edge calculations, plus me. Yo, what's up, everybody? Hey. Usual suspects up in the comments. Good to see everybody. Buen dia. Bienvenidos. We actually had a loser yesterday. Womp, womp, womp. Yeah, damn, yo. They do happen sometimes. Oh, you know what? I still have them up. I didn't get the grade. I was really miserable about it yesterday, but then the Knicks kind of saved my day. Oh, Seattle. Right, it was close. They didn't get it done early, but man, on that offense sucks. Outside of J-Rod, they collapsed completely. Arizona, they were also hanging tough. They had so many men on early that you just know it was going to go wrong. That went wrong. Detroit, again, the offense so bad. We just really let down on offense. The Angels was a winner, that under. I was kind of kicking myself because I was getting the feel. You know when you have the feeling of the bets that you were like on the fence about? You didn't play those like all hit. And I think we might have had a winning day if I would have been more aggressive. I was pumping the brakes on the short slate and the day stuff. I was talking about betting the Rays straight. That was an easy one. Didn't get that one. But I just, right, to be honest, one of those would have been the Washington money line. I had said, right, F5, Washington's really an F5 team, but the Giants are the worst bullpen in the league right now. So, why would we really be afraid? Oh, man, sorry. If you had that one, what could you do? Did the Nats give up 5 in the 8th, 5 in the ninth? Oh, my gosh, that's the worst fucking thing I ever heard. My goodness. All right, enough of that shit. More of this. It's the best part of waking up. Where are they? Where'd you guys go? There they are. Like in the old commercials, get the sip. That was refreshing. All right, short slate today. It's chopped. I think I'm just going to go in order. There's only 3 games at night. So just follow, you could skip along. I try to make it easy. You could kind of see where as the spreadsheet moves, you could see where we are in the show. And if you follow along on Spotify, they actually break it into games, which, I'm not doing that work because I don't know how to. I'm also maybe a little too lazy. Sam, Brian Rose, Adonis, Lambadan, what's going on? Wait, hold on. What a way to kill an hour until the wheat shop opens. I mean, yeah, sure, but my other question is, what the fuck are we running out for? What's up with that shit? I mean, gosh, you get these, whatever, it's like legal delivery in 50 states now. Damn, if you're not strapped with the pen, we're doing something wrong, you know what I'm saying? All right, let's just go again. We'll go in order. Then I've got some stuff I got to get to later on, so we're just going to maybe fly through it today. Hunter Dobbins on the bump for the Cardinals. They're plus 119 dogs on the road in Queens. Let's go, Mets go, and Christian Great Scott on the hill. We thought we were getting him yesterday. He got bumped back to today. Now, Dobbins, I'm going to be honest, I know we've seen him before. It was Boston, I believe, right? St. Louis does seem to get the most out of the least, but I never like what they're dealing with. So, okay, Dobbins, I didn't notice, we were talking about this yesterday, the utilization in Major League Baseball has never been weirder. Meaning, Dobbins, his last 3 appearances, now one was a start the end of April, he went 4 1/3. He was out a month, he comes back, goes 3 2/3. Then he just pitched 5 innings on regular rest a few days ago, but he didn't start. So, it's easy to have those things kind of miss. Man, I guess Dobbs, so I guess he's on rest. What I was getting at in my circuitous way. Long way to say short stuff. I was curious if we were getting the debut or, the first call up or whatever. And it turns out I'm just an idiot. So let's see under the hood. The velo's pretty good. He's sitting 96. It's like average spin, average extension. The whiffs are just okay. It does get hit hard. Back with the slider that I feel like he misses a little too much on. No major whiff rate. So the secondaries all have a decent floor to them. I don't know. Dobbins maybe feels like replacement level, maybe a touch above, right? He's never really been a K guy. He struggled with command and control in the past, though you do get ground balls. He's also struggled with home runs, right? This isn't really a guy I would be afraid of. I know he struggled with lefties in the past also. That's popped up. The lefty splits this year are pretty brutal. Well, I guess relatively for the slate, but hard hit pulled balls are what we're going to be looking for from lefties. I like, Benj, we like Soto, we like Jared Young today. I think the Mets are going to throw a bunch of lefties at Dobbins. And Scott's been pretty good. The whip at 131 is a little high for the 250 ERA. None of the indicators screaming, but they're all at least at 3.5, right? So a little weary, though the major concern we mentioned this yesterday, right? The walk rate at 11.5 is definitely a red flag. However, right? But, the big shaking ass, The ball rate below 37 is really good. So it's not even like, he's got to necessarily improve. I just think this is naturally going to improve. And the pendulum swing could be this guy goes and doesn't walk anybody because sub 37 ball is good command and control. He's winning in the zone. The ball's been up, but he is getting a lot of pop-ups and reduce hard contact again. I think the ceiling for Scott is pretty high. I'd like to see him string together a little bit more. We've got production. The last 30 days, the underpinning stuff is not great, right? 4 Sierra, 14 KBB is not great. Dobbins has been a lot better through that lens, though the sample is a little bit small to be going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs here. Both teams have struggled versus righties. The Mets starting to shake a little bit, right? We mentioned this when we have talented offenses starting to do the things that we like to see. A little bit of lesson incoming here. Mets are making contact. We'd like to see the discipline clean up. But again, natural regression coming. O-swing, cunt hair below 30. Swing strike rate 11.5. These are all average or better. Not generally going to lead to a 23K. Mets are making zone contact, pulling fly balls, and hitting the ball hard, getting barrels. Ex-Wobacon north of 400. Lots of ding-dongs, plenty of extra base hits. The BABIP's really low, and I think that is also going to naturally correct. I think the Mets are the better team and the better offense. Cardinals bullpen has been really impressive lately. I haven't been buying it all year. Eventually, I'm just going to have to get on board. So maybe the Mets don't crush where maybe the run line feels a little bit greedy. I do think they could easily get there. The 145, so I guess pretty much neutral. I thought I posted 155. It was 145 on the open. Well, my open when I posted this morning. And I'm not really into paying 145 minus 145. That's not really my style. Mets do have the heat emoji today, that Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun emoji. And I think that's why the total's at 9. I don't think we get to 9, frankly. But I think the Mets win. So I've got like the Mets minus 145. And that was another one yesterday. What was the fucking play yesterday? Damn. The combo meal. Oh, the Angels, right? The under that we hit. I also said you could pair that with the Angels, right? Detmers was going to shove, and LA would probably scratch one across our guy, Lambert. And that's exactly what happened. So, those are in play also. You don't hear people talk about that often. The kind of combo platter. But I mean, that shit is always out there. I'm just curious what the pricing that is. It's never as good as I want it to be. Especially when you're playing to an under For the record, Mets in the under is plus 195, which I like. But what I mean is, Mets to the under is the same as St. Louis under 4, right? It's the same bet. The Mets can't win and keep it under 9 if the Cardinals get to 4. And then maybe today the price on that is not great. But there are certainly days where when you do that same kind of mental calculation, that number, it would be like a second rung on an alt ladder, right? Because sometimes it's a low number and it's like, well, that team would have to score below 2 or score below 3. And you might get a comparable number, it won't be plus 200, but it would be comparable for a single event. And I think, that's out there also. Because again, in these situations, there's no clock in baseball. Mets could run, and you could win and get the over on a bad bullpen. Whatever. Next up, my boy Zebby Matthews on the bump for the Twinks. They're on the road in Detroit Rock City. Dropped that one. Keter Montero on the bump for the Tigers. Tigers minus 130, and this one I'm not really buying. I've got Minnesota. I don't want to say I've got them for an outright win. If you're looking up at the board, we're literally talking about like percentage points. We're quite literally talking about BIP, right? A BIP is a 100th. I still don't trust the Twins bullpen. Whatever they got outs yesterday, that doesn't make me think they're going to get outs today. That makes me think they're not going to get outs today. I'm trying to get a live price on the Twins at 5. I think that's something I could definitely snack on. Are ye listed? Yeah, Twins are listed plus 111. And I think that's the move. Pitching sheet is up, 4.15 ERA for Matthews, but we're not buying that. When the whip is at 109, expected ERA at 3.50, even the Sierra is almost a quarter point lower. I've been looking more at the Claudbot and my own. I've got him down right at the expected ERA, so I'm kind of wheels up for Matthews for some positive regression. And if I'm not mistaken, he just got beat up. So these are really my favorite regression spots. Right, so a guy, there was the time before, we missed that one. After he got crushed at Pitt, you knew he was going to shove at KC. Went 7-2, he did walk 4. First time all season he's walked more than 2 batters. Regardless, Zebby's got the goods. I was worried about the arm strain from last year coming back to haunt him, and that kept me off him for fantasy, and that might end up being the death knell for fantasy. But this ain't fantasy. This is a single-day contract when you bet. And he's healthy today, so I think he's going to be healthy by tomorrow. 15 KBB, 27.5 CFW, 6.5 walk, 66 first strike. There's a lot to like here. Zebby's going to get you a little excited sometimes because he's pumping the four-seamer up in the zone. That's why you see the big, pulled fly ball. But he does get a lot of pop-ups. And overall, the contact is good. The misses do get barreled, and that's been the home runs. So, this isn't ace-level stuff. You see the splits are pretty strong. Last 30 is pretty strong. He's been terrible on the road. I almost feel like this split has to normalize. 1.8 ERA at home, 8.7 ERA on the road. And Montero was just okay, but I think he was due for maybe a little bit of regression. I know the command and control is strong, and I do hang my hat on that a lot of times. But it's so much contact and so many fly balls, and they're hit hard. So I think the fail point for Montero a little stronger than that of Zebby. What do you want to call the offense is a split right now? If we're looking at last 2 weeks, I'd give the hat tip to the Twins, despite the worse disciplinary approach. I think Montero is worse in that element as well. The Tigers have been striking out and losing in zone, and that's how Zebby wins. This is how we win. If you're into L7 stuff, it's Twins by a mile. But I've made my skepticism pretty clear how I feel about using WRC Plus and how I feel about using last 7. That said, we've seen the Tigers go belly up how many times this year, right? They, in trading, we call it a loop, or there's one I'm forgetting the fucking term as I was trying to think of it. Anyway, right, the cycle or whatever. That's not the word I was looking for. But like we've seen this movie before, and once the Tigers start to tank and they're coming off a little bit of decency, we've just seen them just completely ass up. Like, so I have very little faith in the Tigers. Give me Zebi F5, especially at the plus money. I think that's a miss here. Next. Oh. Merrill Kelly on the bump for the Snakes with shapes in their back. They're on the road in Miami after an ass kicking to the Marlins yesterday. Nelson wasn't bad to start, and Arizona had opportunities, and obviously we lost, right? You're not making excuses. We got destroyed yesterday, right? Let's be very clear. I'm not misframing. But that's a good example of how every game has multiple forks in the road. The ball drops in the first and the good defensive play gets made. Everything changes. I feel more strongly about that with errors. Like, errors are the worst because they extend innings and extra pitch counts. The pitcher is pissed off. But anyway. Merrill Kelly on the bump, and he's been terrible. I wonder if he's still hurt. 5.71 ERA, 150 whip. Expected ERA for Kelly north of 7.5. I mean, this is getting to the point where I know we like you. You're a good guy. You've had a bit of a track record for success. You're getting replaced. 4.5 KBB, sub 25 CSW, 43 fly ball, 43 pull, 45 hard hit, 16.5 barrel equals what? 2.0 homers not per 9. That's 13 shamalama ding-dongs and just 58 in the third. Lefties have fucking eaten this guy's lunch. Chalk up all the lefties. I mean, righties have eaten this guy's lunch. Not nearly as bad. Marlins should absolutely kill today. Not sure what we think of Phillips. He's doing the converted starter also. I can't remember ever seeing so much of this in a season. Let's take a little bit of a look at Phillips again. If he's going to be getting the rock every 5 days and going to be getting consideration as a starter, it's so hard to find edge in this market. I legitimately think this is one of the spots to do it. These pitchers have so many question marks surrounding them that without the nuanced hand, you're not going to... There's no computer program to figure out these guys because they're all completely different. Workload and, the pitch count, how often had they thrown and how much have they thrown, and are they going to be starters going forward? Right, so there's like a little bit of backwards looking, a little bit of forward looking. Let's take a little bit of a look at Phillips. 28-year-old righty, he's a big dude. No real draft capital. He's been an effective reliever. Not a big K guy, but he does get ground balls, keep the ball in the yard, which is, really important. Miami made the move to him, as he was bulk relieving and then stretching. We've had a progression of workload. I meant to mention that. That's another one also. Last 6 outings. 1.1 by innings. 1.1, 2, 3, 3.2, 5, 4.2. He didn't finish the 5th in the last one. He had walked 3 batters. But the intention was there. Pitch counts. 14, 43, 43, 59, 72, 82. Again, progression of pitch counts. Phillips now up to a full load, right? He's to be treated as a starter. Pop the hood on Phillips. Let's see what we got. Now, I have to make one adjustment. The reason I like to use starter only is pitchers will change Arsenal and even velo, right? Because of how much they have to go. So there's like a element of sustainability going on. I want to check the game-by-game stuff. All right, the pitch mix is pretty much the same. So let's take a look. Sinker first, power sinker 96. Very good command and control because he's good at limiting contact. Just no whiffs on that. The other secondaries have really good whiff stuff and really good. It's a good contact profile. Very strong against lefties also. Lefties, you get this is interesting. Lefties, you get a totally overhauled arsenal. Again, you're not going to get this with the Filter Queen, obviously. Tyler Phillips goes split finger first. 28% use, sub 300 X log, plus 41 whiff. Yo. Yeah, no shit. Curveball, secondary pitch. But also, I call it 1B, primary. 24 use, 354 X lug, and a 50 whiff. Yeah, that'll play. Then even a sweeper, 17 use, so that's a secondary. 354 X slug, 39 whiff. Yo, we got to get down with Tyler Phillips. I think you got to go wheels up here. There's a lot of potential here from a diagnostic standpoint. You know, again, you got to be really careful. I left the reliever stuff up because it's all reliever stuff. But there's a lot to like here. There really is a lot to like from Phillips. And again, the command control, I think, is thrown off by just that last outing. What do we think about the Arizona offense right now? It's the freaking poop emoji. You know what I mean? How could this team be this bad? Last 2 weeks versus righties, 350 plate appearances. I mean, so this is another good example of how we can use fantasy baseball as a new perspective. Right when you go to the optometrist, to click better or worse, better or worse, better or worse. So kind of playing around with the lens a little bit. $350 times 2 is 700. That's a full player season, right? So this is like perfect. And it's a full player season. It's a player season that you're expecting regression from as far as totals, right? Where would this player belong in the majors? 700 plate appearances, you bat 199 with a 272 slug, 559 OPS, 36 hard hit, 306 xWOBA, and 16 home runs. I mean, horrendous stuff. Miami, not far behind, but they're starting to shake. Right now, Stowers is back a little bit. He's starting to hit. Taking walks, being patient. They're hitting the ball hard, right? The X-Con is starting to pop. We need to see a little bit more, right? We're not like bullish Miami offense right now, but this is not dog shit. Last 7, significant edge to the Marlins as well. Bullpen's probably, I don't know, let's call it even in a race to the bottom. I think Miami wins this one. I definitely like the F5, right? If we're worried about the Miami bullpen, we've kind of had bad bullpen luck. I'm seeing minus 115, which I think is the same price, full game in F5. So that's pretty much all that I need to see. Right, we think Phillips will get through 5, but that's probably it. We want to jump on Kelly and not get into a bullpen war. That's how I check the boxes to go for F5. I've been trying to lean more into full games and kind of letting these bets mature. Hat tip my guy Kyle. Maybe I'll be on tonight. I'm not sure. But yeah, give me Miami F5 and let's move it up. Kumar Rocker on the bump for the Rangers. They're even money on the road against Michael Waka Flocka and the Royals with cheese. Lots of fucking emojis going on. Win not just blowing out, but blowing out hard, meaning we've got at least 18 miles blowing out to the outfield. And the Royals have the bullpen emoji. They were already bad. Lang has been the saving grace, probably not going to be available. I think he took the loss back-to-back and 52 pitches. Lynch, you might see back-to-back with 33 straights on the edge. Schreiber probably not available back-to-back and 3 or 4, despite the low pitch count. Cruz back-to-back also. I mean, they're going to be hanging by a thread. So I think you do not want to be betting Kansas City full game. If you don't like Rocker and you like Waka, then you go for the F5. That'd be fine. I'm kind of split. I think Texas wins this one, outlasting them. Rocker's been okay. I struggle, man. The command and the control, there's just no swing and miss. He's turned himself into a different pitcher and one that can succeed, right? If you can force weak ground balls over and over and over and over and over, there's a place for that in the majors, right? But when there's walks and you get BABIP, then you get F to the A. So Rocker can succeed, but I'm not buying it. And I think that's what we've seen L30, right? People are kind of going nuts for this guy, and I get it. If you're chasing surface stuff, it's hard to beat a 188 ERA and a 112 whip. That's like bad at what we're trying to do here. However, right, but there's that big wet ass again. 473 Sierra and a 7.5 KBB ain't shit. That ain't shit. And that's nothing to be really overly impressed about. And it's not to say you're really lucky, because that's not how this works. But it's not impressive. Michael Wacha, I think he's outkicked his coverage. The 344, 114 ERA whip surface combo is a little too high for the indicators, though his approach stuff is a lot better. Really great command and control. He gets ahead, the same chase rate, which is a bit above average, but he'll win in the zone a little bit more. My worry has been the low velo stuff, forcing it up in the zone. Wacha's still like trying to beat guys up, and you see those balls go up in the air, and I'm worried, and all the fly balls, and that's where I'm worried today because of the fucking wind. So I can't back the Royals because of Wacha. Also, Texas offense is starting to get it going a little bit, right? They're just returning all the pieces, and I think they're eventually going to go nuts. It's not really happening yet. You can see the last 2 weeks versus righty is still whack. However, things that we like to see are beginning to happen, right? The K rate is dropping, the chase rate is dropping, the pulled line drives are starting to pop. That's the stuff that I'm looking for as a trend indication. And again, the L7, now you're starting to see strength in the L7. We're getting our signals, right? Those indicators that the trend change is coming. I'm getting ready to back the Texas offense. Kansas City has not been dog shit, so maybe they get it done also. To me, this is either, I think Texas is the better team. I think we've got the better profile, right? The ground ball pitcher opposed to the fly ball pitcher. I think we have the better offense and the better bullpen. I think you could play this one to win. And we've got the odds here. We're at even money for the full game. The total is so crazy high. I've been very clear about chasing totals. Chasing win totals. I put the thing on the model. It means I hit it. The second win thing means I fucking hit it again. I'm not going to keep moving it until I match the model. In that case, I would just leave it blank, right? Then I didn't model this game. I'm afraid. First time in my life, I'm afraid. And that's fine. So I'd rather just be honest. I'm way under, and maybe I look really stupid. I'm way under. I just not seeing it. Again, if you wanted, proof, right? And if you're laughing at me and calling me fat and stupid, I get it. You wouldn't be wrong all the time. But, right? But. Between yesterday's Cubs-Rockies and Brewers-A's game, okay, we had a combined total of 27 runs. How many were scored? 12. Both of those games were under either total. So I'm just, again, this is something I'm learning, right? Again, the door swings both ways. I'm very open about my own process, where I'm firm, where I'm trying to learn, where I'm wishy-washy, where I get scared. This is one where I'm flag planting. And I'm not saying this game over, that line stupid. But I am saying there's so much fucking variance. And I have so much confidence in the work that is producing. I mean, come on. It's not to jerk myself off with the winning bets right now. It's not. But honestly, could it be any harder? Could I be working against myself anymore? Be honest. That's the stone cold truth. I put out the model, my own work. Then go into detailed analysis of every game with said model. And the picks don't come out till hours later. I'm putting myself and us up against the wall because that's why I don't sell this as not a pick service. Picks are part of the thing that we do responsibly, and hopefully it's fun and ends up paying, monies, American monies. But this is not a unit chase. Or I wouldn't be doing any of this, or we'd be doing it in reverse. I would print, I would digest, I would analyze, I would bet, I would provide, and maybe do a nighttime show. And then after we've hammered the fuck out of everything, then do it. And I guess that's an idea. I never thought of it like that because I'm an early bird. And I don't know, baseball shit, live at lock stuff never tended to do very well. this kind of content I want on the Vine as long as possible. You know, when our early birds to be able to listen and people listening at lunch, there's people listening on the commute on the way home and everything like that. Anyway, I think Texas wins at even money, and I think we're under. Now, I'm not challenging you under, and it goes to show you the lack of, confidence, my level of poussoir through the fucking roof right now. Because I'm not crazy high on the under, but yeah, I'm not like going to keep fucking with the bottle. Next up, Eddie Cabrera on the bump for the Baby Bears. Alliteration aside, they are pretty heavy favorites on the road against Ryan Feltner, damn near Kildner on the bump for the Rocks at the crib, plus 128. I mean, it's been a really rough go for Cabrera, but if I'm not mistaken, is this start number 2? Right, so this could be a spot where we're at the point where people are like, that's it, we're giving up on Cabrera. Where we're like, maybe not so much yet. Is the second one back, right? He was on the IL for a couple weeks. He came back. I told everyone to fade him. I think we actually bet against him. He got destroyed. I mean, it's just to be expected. Again, fading the debut is real. And though it's not absolute, I think it pays way more than it doesn't. And it's worth acting on. So I think Cabrera now makes that another progression forward, except he's in Colorado and we don't care. So whatever. This is what the fuck it is. I've been giving the worst fucking advice. Talking about these parlay picks and shit. But again, they were always within the construct of the over and the under. And look, those overs didn't hit. So if you bet a unit on those overs, you lost anyway. And there actually might have been a couple of those combinations that hit, right? Some were like a single and a walk and a hit run ribby or whatever. But yeah, none of those hit. I know, because Drafter sends you an email when you hit anything. So you don't even have to check when you played. You don't even if you lost. And yeah, I've been pretty much a loser. Seriously, I wish this is probably sacrilege for the boomers, right? I wish all games were played in a uniform stadium in uniform conditions so I could model it more properly. We wouldn't have the rainouts and all the crazy, stupid wind stuff that we're talking about. So anyway. I've got, this one I've got actually scoring, right? I've got 10.5 on the model, which is really high. You generally don't get that, right? The Texas game is a perfect example how I hit it twice and didn't get to that number, where Coors just has the regular Coors adjustment, and I'm there. So this is the worst analysis that I got before we move on. There were no runs yesterday. Runs today. That's the fucking best. That's the fucking best I got you. You know what I'm saying? That's what I got you. Shit. What do you want from me? Next up, Justin Wrobleski on the bump for the Trolley Dodgers. They're on the heavy road. They're on the road as heavy favorites, minus 163. Against Mitch Keller and the Buccos. I got to check the box score yesterday, so I think this was another one. Yeah, fuck. Where listen, I felt like the Jared Jones price was off. That ended up being correct, and that was enough. I wonder if anyone picked up on this, right? Like when we talk about self-auditing and the rate guy stepping all the time. What do I do all the time that I mentioned? I'll tend to chase pitching on an F5 price, not calculating that I should be thinking more about an under. I see those F5 U4s, and it's like I'm sitting on the beach, buck naked, of course, legs spread, of course, tanning the bunghole, of course, and somebody just kicks a fucking bunch of sand crack shells right in my crotch, I see the F5 and I get soap gets all the fin. I want to get under. Games go under. Full games go under 4. I got to try and beat that into the testadora. I'm a fucking hardhead sometimes, though. Anyway, that game was so funny because, right, so we would have lost the F5, but Jones pitched really well. Right, Jones pitched really well. He didn't get the distance we were hoping for. I thought getting pulled after 75 pitches, I thought he might have had one more. They were a little bit careful. Machinsky came in and he got freaking sodomized. That game ends up spinning off the rails. Dodgers bullpen gives up 8 runs. Point being, Pittsburgh offense is not bitch anymore. right? The Pittsburgh offense is not the team where, again, even like a year or two ago, if they were down even 2 runs, you're like, it's over. And now, even without Cruz, and Griffin, it's really impressive stuff for Pitt. Good to see that Brandon Lau came back. Right, Horwitz has been a revelation, and with O'Hearn back, he's been great. They just called up this kid Callahan. He freaking homered. You got Jake Mangum style doing his thing. It's funny. You would think if someone was saying to you, "Yo, Pittsburgh is hitting," you'd be like, "Wow, Ozuna must be going off, right?" Fucking, of course not. What a busted fucking best ball pick that was. Jeez, what they asked me to do one fucking thing. What is it you'd say you do here? All right, so Wroblewski, very good, right? Kind of an old-fashioned pitcher. 2.62 ERA, 1 flat whip across 68 2/3 is phenomenal. Again, it's elite command and control. He gets ahead of everybody. He understands the assignment. He does not care about K rate, doesn't care about swing and miss. That's not his game. He's just filling the zone, filling the zone. I like when these guys work down exclusively. He is an example of a pitcher that can get away without it. I don't know how, honestly, because he throws his four-seamer 50% of the time, and it's not particularly good. But when you have that kind of command and control, you can push the four-seamer in either direction. Meaning, he understands the assignment. Four-seamers that are up have to be way up. The four-seamers that are down have to be way down. Again, this is very old-fashioned, right? It's very old-fashioned. Throwing strikes. What a novel idea, you damn kids with your, sugar-pickled pineapples or whatever. With your Baja Blast waffles and shit. All right, so Wroblewski just overloading the four-seamer like I mentioned. Again, it's a terrible extension profile. Is he a shorty like me? Is Wroblewski a short king? No, I don't get it. He's 6'1", but has a really terrible extension profile. Good spin, poor whiff. I don't know. Let's call it middling sink and below average horizontal break. So the IVB is not good. So the shape is not good. The velo is not good. The usage is too high. But it's not like this guy's been lucky. No one is getting a hold of anything he's got. Anything. Honestly, it's legit remarkable to be throwing your four-seamer, right? That often to a 379 X lug, even a 19.5 whiff. The 379 X lug is crazy. Now, granted, he's been a little bit fortunate on the output, but the inputs are really good. Yeah, I don't know. I should be making the case for this guy's going to get cracked. Now, I think the bear case for Wroblewski, and again, none of this has materialized, is the lefty contact stuff has been kind of brutal. And Pittsburgh is probably going to throw a few at him, right? He's going to see Lau, Reynolds, Horwitz up front. So maybe Pittsburgh jumps on Wroblewski early. But man, he's been great. Great at home, great on the road, great last 30. And Keller's just been Mitch Keller doing Mitch Keller things. He started out so good. We knew it would regress. It's done exactly that. Now, he's got good command and control. So it's not like this guy sucks and there is no floor here. There's absolutely a floor for Keller. He's been unlucky also. 63 left on base is shitty. I feel like maybe he's made up for that with the 6.5 homer fly ball rate. Though he does have a low fly ball rate, you don't expect a lot of homers. He's gotten crushed by lefties, and I'm just worried. Dodgers also create these prospects in a fucking factory somewhere. So it's Will Smith, this is funny, right? Will Smith, top 5 hitting catcher in Major League Baseball. IL, don't worry, Dalton Rushing, ridiculously good hitter. Just ridiculously good, awesome hitter. People have been clamoring to get him into the lineup. And you're like, wait, what the fuck? Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, say what you want. He's a legit MLB baller, right? You know what I mean? I'm not a big fantasy guy for Teoscar. I was never that big on it. I think he's on a downswing, but he's good. He's good. He's good. He'd be starting on, I don't know, I want to say every team, right? If you start for the Dodgers, you pretty much start for any team. He'd be, at least be a DH on, 28 teams, whatever. This guy hits the IL. What's the big deal? We have Ryan Wood. Let's bring up Ryan Wood. We've been clamoring for him to get at bats also. And you're like, what the fuck? You know, that's why their Dodgers are out there talking about having the draft capital to bring in Scooble, you know. And again, it might cost them those two guys, and they might say, fuck it, let's do it. So Dodgers just have, it's crazy the way they built this. So McKellar is in trouble. The Dodgers have, all the lefties too. Right, because that they're gonna get Tucker, Muncy, Rushing, Ward, and Freeland plus Ohtani and Freeman. Oh my God, it's over. It is over. Jover. It is Jover for Keller today. Dodgers team totals 5.5 plus 105. Man, there's an argument for the run line, but if you notice the mottos tell me to pump the brakes, that I probably feel more strongly about. I hate 6 runs. I don't know if I could bet 6 runs. 6 runs is so high, where the run line is minus 102, and maybe that allows for a little bit of love. I don't know. Who got crushed yesterday? So, okay, Ohtani gave up 3 on his way out the door, and then Hurt got beat up. See, so you know what? That makes me less worried about the Dodgers today. It wasn't like the front end of it, where Soto gave up 2 yesterday for Pittsburgh. Yeah, this is corny and chalky, but even though I'm not crazy about Wrobleski, I still think the Dodgers run line at the same price as 6 runs is the better play. I mean, whatever. I paid for fucking Framber Valdez yesterday. What the fuck is? What the hell's wrong with me? But what's the difference? Next up to Nature Boy Brian. Woo on the bump for the Mariners. It's gonna be hot out in Baltimore. So again, when you see the sun, 88 plus. I forget which follower it was. Somebody hit me up and asked me about that. Again, these are the questions I get asked that when I have to respond to, I'm like, you know what? When you're right, you're right. When you're right, you're right. And it was actually, of course, the followers here. Speaking of which, J Main, CKM, good to see everybody. Appreciate you all. Everybody just get, hanging and banging, as Hogan would say. That don't work for me, brother. In the comment section. Adam and Caleb. Again, B Rose and Mark, the Light Bearer. Good to see you, man. What's going on with you, kiddo? Good to see everybody. I forget who it was, but somebody asked me again. Remember this saying? We live for this, right? What is your profession?
Spartan! What is your profession?
Well, your profession is to be degenerate in all the right ways, and pick at this thing. Pull my threads. You know what I'm saying? We want the smoke. We want the scrutiny. I mean, I invite the scrutiny, and so basically it was as simple as this. Of course, the feedback I get from you people is entirely too nice. It always comes with apologies. I'm really sorry to take up your time, and thank you for all that. And I appreciate that stuff. Yeah, I mean, if it's business, you get down to business. Nothing personal, baby, right? It's only strictly business. All good. Was asking about the model, thanking me for the win thing. They've been around for a long time to avoid double counting. Asking about the Heat. I get a correlative report about how, Heat adds footage and affects homers. And I was like, you're right. I had been doing it, but I wasn't noting it. So now we note it. And if you see good old Mr. Sun, you just know right off the bat, it's going to be really hot there, right? And if you're, it's not to say in this, okay, so this is work we were talking about with the highest scoring team. And when me and Jay were kind of going back and forth with this shit, how, and I don't want to put this without making fun of myself or like demeaning my own work. The highest implied team total is not necessarily the best pick for highest scoring team. And I think I had to learn that the hard way. Because the highest average, right, doesn't necessarily mean the highest spike. Now, yes, generally there's a case for it, But remember, price is a part of this. And because our modeling is very, very good, we're usually pretty much in line with the books. So you're still paying favorite prices. You know, the odds are good, but you're still paying for the favorite. And I think it's the other stuff, the emojis, that allow for progressive run up, right? The fucking utter collapse. The bullpen emoji doesn't mean that team is going to give up 8 runs, but it means there's a red flag in the utilization. But what that implies, right, that does insinuate is if that team is behind, they're generally not going for the A squad. Pit managers, again, you could always look for a day off the next day. But managers have to think long term. And if you go down 2 or you go down 3, you're not going to your best guys in the 6th and the 7th. You got to get outs with the guys that are rested, and you get what you get, and you don't get upset. And that's how you get the fucking run. And the same for the weather, right? If the ball happens to be flying, you get the same situation, and it doesn't always need the bullpen emoji. You know, where you have the guy that is home run prone or fly ball prone, the scores can run. So that's why I like having those out there, because those are targets, right? Even a good pitcher goes out, gives up a 3-run dong in the first, gives up another 2-run shot in the third. He's stressed out. He walked a couple guys. Now you're in the early bullpen, and boom, there it goes. Where was we? All right, Brian Wu, and it's gonna be hot in Baltimore. Mariners minus 114 against Kyle Horse Bradish and the Orioles. Man, you know, I was supposed to be an Oriole honk this season because I've been chasing the damn offense for so long, and then I get off them, and now they're like good. But I love me some Brian Wu, and I'm hot and cold on Bradish. I mean, he's been good but not great. The command and the control has been horrible, and you know, I think there is a case to be made. Right, he kind of returns to the guy that we saw the last couple years. I know fantasy heads are kind of bitching and moaning right now because every time he was getting it on track, you know, he gave you 5 solid starts in a row. He goes and gets collapsed, faced Toronto that second time in 5 days. They prolapsed him in front of, 35,000 screaming fans. But he went 7-3, struck out 10. 6-0, struck out 7, 5 1/3, 2, 6-1, 7-1. Actually, that was 7-0. The 1 run was unearned. I think you're buying back into Bradish. I mean, both of these guys have a good case for a big time money start today. Wu does everything we love. One of the best command pitchers in the game. Plus, he's got swing and miss, and he can get you to reach. He does absolutely everything. And forget the high fly ball rate because he's always up and down. Hitters have no idea what to do with this guy. So he's an example of the other side of the 4-seam. He can throw the 4-seamer as much as he wants. He's throwing 96 with a big-time stuff plus and the best control in the game. So he can go up and up, down and down. He can put the ball wherever the fuck he wants. That's why when he's up, big fly ball, he's got a 16% infield fly rate. It's crazy. So very few pitchers are going to be able to rock a 47% fly ball rate through 77 innings, yet keep like a 3/4 homer line on the ledger. Again, Wu is so good. He is so freaking good. It's the Bradish thing that I'm worried about if we want to be looking for the under. I know Wu sucked on the road. I don't give a crap. He's been great the last 30, and Bradish, it's up in the air. Offenses, you got to give the edge to Baltimore right now. Though Seattle, is absolutely getting up off the mat, Oh, yes. Can't fuck with the 43 hard hit, 11 barrel, 408 ex-con, last 340 PAs versus righties. They have even cut the strikeouts despite the poor disciplinary stuff. Maybe that's a little bit lucky, but I'm loving the extra base hit and all the power metrics. But Orioles is doing everything, and it's rooted in discipline. So that's what you love. But Wu is also that guy, right? If your plan, right, what it looks like the Orioles have been doing is kind of not swing, let pitchers come to you, not chase. Well, Wu is not going to afford you any of that. I mean, I like Baltimore, but I don't think anybody gets to my boy. Bullpen, I think Seattle's bullpen is better. They've been supremely disappointing. Seems like, especially when we've been backing them, they've been bad. I'm a little surprised that this total is 8.5. And I think that's the Heat, right? That's the Heat. I'd move for the Heat. So this would be exactly when that person was talking about. No, I'm under. If we got a 4.5, I'm under Bradish and Wu. 4.5. I'll challenge the fucking weather. You know what I mean? It's minus 118 at 4.5. I don't know. I've had such bad luck with bullpens. I just don't want it right now. I don't want it. You know what I mean? Like when you hit in the face, and I just don't want anymore. I give up. It's all a fucking towel, and it's a wrap for me. You know, I can't take it. See, I'm gonna go under the 4.5. I think Seattle wins. But they've done nothing but fucking disappoint. So I'm gonna stick with the rake. Then I step on this. I do it to myself all the time. This is another example of I'm gonna go with Brian Wu. And now I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with the under. Last but not least, Martin Perez. I mean, this is a mad battle of the lefties who I don't know how they keep getting away with this. Martin Perez on the bump for the Bravos. They're only minus 122 against Anthony. Every kiss begins with K and the White Sox. I mean, I don't know. Perez, I like half joke about how he keeps getting away with this. The 302, 106 ERA whip combo for Perez certainly are a little too high. But it's not like gross, right? You want to see gross, you look at K's disciplinary stuff. Single-digit KBB, single-digit swing and strike, 39 ball, 24 CSW. Where Perez, the command and control was more average, but his CSW is high because you can't just sit. He'll drop breaking stuff over. Plus, he's keeping it down. He wins more in zone. He gets ahead more. Perez certainly more believable. Market finally coming around on the White Sox, it seems like. K's been better at home than on the road. And though he's performed okay last 30, I'm just not buying the underpinning stuff. I'm not trying to be some big Martin Perez backer. Is the total 9 on this one? It's 8.5. Let me see if it moved up. I was wondering if this is like an over or nothing. Maybe I just need to leave this one on the cutting room floor. Let's go over to offenses v lefties last 30 real quick. Braves has been meh. What they've hit well, I guess. Maybe that reaction was overblown. The average is low because the BABIP is low. I hate the chase rate, but that's not K's game. The rest of the discipline's been okay. Elevation, pulled stuff is okay. Hard hit stuff is okay. I mean, Atlanta is in a much better spot here. White Sox have hit lefties, though, right? They're not a pushover. Taking walks, hitting the ball hard, and maybe that's it. I've been worried about the Braves bullpen when it comes to these overs, and I don't generally go over the F5. But I feel like that's my play. And I actually have that. Oh, I have the F5 at 4, and it's 4.5. I was like, I'm way over the F5, and way over the F5 because it's incorrect. I'm still over the point I wanted to make, though. You could see this on the, let me bring up the Algo board. Oh, let me change it on hours. 4.5. So even though I'm leaning over both ways, I'm further on the over in the F5. And, maybe it's just K gets jumped on or Perez gets jumped on. I think that's what I'm on. So I haven't really bet those. But they're out there and they're viable. And I've got the model backing and, we got offenses that we like also, right? I mean, we like the Braves can hit and the White Sox can hit. So I'm kind of buying it. Oh, let's do a quick recap. People have been asking for those. Oh, I like to deliver. I've got, let me bring up my, show picks. All right, here we go. I got in the early stuff, Mets win versus the Cardinals, but we're also on the under. Met in the under plus 200 was tasty. Zebby and the Twinks F5 plus money early on. Miami, slight juice, also F5 and moving on. I think Texas wins. I'm a little bit worried about the wind and the win. I'm worried about the winning and the win. Winding and the winning. Dodgers, I think, cover up, kill the Pirates after yesterday's kind of comeback in a bounce back spot. Seattle and Baltimore, I think I'm on the under F5 despite the hot weather. And Atlanta and Chicago, I think I'm over. But on the first half, I don't usually go over first half, but these bullpens have been pretty good. And I'm not trying to face Raisel Iglesias and fucking Grant Taylor. Like, I don't. Those are zeros. You know what I mean, right? You know what I'm saying? You could laugh at the White Sox all you want. If it's a close game and you get the A bullpen because they're rested, like I was mentioning, you're going to get a big old finger in the coolie. So, all right, let's get out of here. Jamie Dan says, every kiss begins with K is a good one. Thanks, man. You know, I'm from the Chris Berman era. Forever respect to my guy, Chris Berman. I always loved the nicknames. I take a lot of pride in those, and I think we've got some of the best in the game, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, also, K is a badass name for it is. You know what's funny? I swear, like, I think I'm smart. I also take L's. That never dawned on me once. I was so upset. Every kiss begins with K. I'm so obsessed with that. I didn't even. Yeah, boom, boom. Caleb, props to you making an hour show out of a poopy slate. I think the Sauce Boys did it in 40 minutes. Oh shit. You know what, though? Yo, in their defense, those guys every day, and it's nighttime. I might be on with them tonight. Yo, it's great. Oh, man, I have to, like, it's a whole thing. You know, I always put my best foot forward. You know, I bring the smoke no matter what, and I'm back in the AM no matter what. But that shit is fucking crazy, and I can only imagine sometimes you're like, yo, it's late. Let's get the fuck out of here. These games are stupid. It's true. It's true. It's true. All right, let's get out of here, yo. Appreciate every single one of you. Remember, it ain't man.
This is Sparta!
Damn right it is. Fastest freaky show absolutely anywhere. I mean, no one doing it quite like me, the one-man band. Press the cartoon finger button because that shit matters more than it should. I'm hoping the podcast will be out without any problems today. I'm moving over to a new provider. We actually found someone that believes in us. Oh, let's go take a fucking bow, yo. You all parties. You're up on me, yeah. Hey. So yeah, we're actually going to get some kind of sponsorship going on, which is fucking great. But I worry because I have to handle all this back end fucking tech stuff, and I never heard of an RSS feed. All right, yo. Enjoy the games, enjoy the day. When we're done with the book, enjoy the pay, and remember, when you work this freaking hard, man, the winning feels a lot less like luck. Yo, you bet your ass it does. Peace.